Whew. All right, friends. We're a little behind schedule, but we're doing it. It's happening. Here we are. It is Tuesday. It is Tuesday. Let me get some notes out because I screamed in here and didn't have anything prepared. So we're just gonna, everybody chill. Hello, hello. Welcome in. Let me get a link to this one. And what's up, Bridgewater? And now I'm going to, why is this too big? There it is. V-Dog, what's happening? How are you? I would definitely love to be talking at the same time as I'm doing this, but I've learned that if I try to talk and type at the same time, I get infinitely slower. So give me just a moment while I get this written out, and then we're so there. Here we go. That one's away. And this one's away. And this one's almost away. There we go. All right. Okay. We've done the tweets. What's happening, y'all? What's up? What's up, Stefan? Second and last cup of coffee for the day. You know, I had to make that switch too. I can't do the multiple cups. I used to be able to like pretty much just keep coffee going all day, and I'd stop around like 5 or 6 p.m. and it didn't cause me any problems. Now it's like if I even have my 1 cup of coffee afternoon, I'm like toast for the night. Like can't sleep. To you know, my like I get that like restless limb thing where I'm like trying to go to sleep, but I feel like I gotta run. Awful. It's awful. I am good. I've had a. It's been a good couple of weeks. I'm sure some of you remember that toward the end of last month I was stressing out because I just wasn't landing projects. I'd been working on a couple big ideas and they just didn't materialize. And so I was kind of scrambling to get things sorted. And in the time since then, I've been able to get several really fun projects lined up. And so we've got good stuff happening. I'm going to be doing, let's see, I'll be in CityJS London, April. I'll be there like the first week of April. And while I'm there, Sentry has agreed to sponsor more episodes of Web Lunch, which if y'all aren't familiar with Web Lunch, it is, let me get over to here. Why don't I just share my screen? Like why would I pretend like I'm not going to consistently have my screen up and ready? Okay. So, Web Lunch is the series here. Well, I guess I haven't actually listed it yet, but this video is currently the only episode of Web Lunch. So it's a live interview I did with Adam Argyle, who's on the Google Chrome DevRel team, and it was super fun. We went to a local restaurant here in Portland. We had lunch. We talked about career and just general like career satisfaction, not like technical skills, but like how do you set goals? How do you know when you're doing enough? How do you feel successful when you've done something that a lot of people would consider the top of the success ladder? Then what happens, right? Really, really good conversation. I love Adam. He's a ray of sunshine. He's like just an absolutely wonderful person. And so I got Sentry to kick in. Thank you, Sentry. Let me drop a little thank you to the Sentry team for this. They've kicked in to make this more of this possible. So we're going to be able to shoot 4 more of these episodes while I'm in London. and I'm still finalizing with the guests, so I'm not going to tell you who just yet, but I'm very excited. We're going to go to a couple places in East London and shoot 4 more of these episodes. And I'm really, really excited about that. This was a lot of fun. Gives me a chance to go work with another video crew in London. It gives me a chance to meet up with wonderful people in London. And that was a lot of fun. And then, even more fun, I just got confirmation on not 1, not 2, but 3 different in-person For Web Devs One App recordings. So 3 different companies. Contracts aren't dry, so I'm not gonna say names yet, but soon we're gonna have the devs, instead of doing it remotely, we're actually gonna fly everybody here to Portland, and we're gonna shoot it here in the studio. So it's gonna be the 4 of us building. We're gonna do it all in a day. We're gonna have a crew the whole time, so we'll be able to see not just when we're done us showing what we built, but in process. Like we'll be able to show some planning. We'll be able to show a whole bunch of stuff that I think will hopefully make this even more fun to watch, right? Like I have some ideas on how to make it more fun and more playful, and we're gonna keep the same spirit of the show. It's about building things. It's about showing what we've built and celebrating with each other, But that's it's gonna be a lot of fun. Sentry is everywhere. I actually like, one of the things that I'm really excited about is I think, like, I feel pretty strongly that the next evolution of tech, like how to get out there as a tech company, is going to be in whatever the modern equivalent of creating a TV station is. And what I mean by that is, I think that, like, we've all spent a lot of time on Zoom calls, and we don't really want to do that anymore. Traveling for work is getting less and less appealing. We don't really work together anymore, so having on-sites is more and more challenging. So the only thing really left to bring people together is entertainment. And we can see that that's still how it works, because if you look at social media, we spend so much time talking about the latest reality show or game show or series that we're watching together. Like, the whole world seemed like it was watching Succession. The whole world seemed like it was watching The Bear. I think everybody was just watching Love is Blind, right? And that discussion is something that really takes on a life of its own and creates a community next to the show, right? We're not going to get that for webinars. We're not going to get that for conferences, but we can get that for entertainment, right? And so I think that companies like Sentry they're seeing this. I'm still working on getting a company to fully embrace this, because it's expensive and it requires, like, a lot of reworking of plans, and it's a big risk, and there's a lot of reasons why people aren't just, like, jumping on this, but hopefully these processes, these episodes of Web Launch, these episodes of For Web Devs in person, are stepping stones that start to show just how much more impactful it is to do things like this, and will hopefully convince people to give it more of a shot and invest even more in it, so that we get to make the full-blown, like, I've got a game show in the works. I've got a docuseries in the works, and actually several game shows in the works, a couple reality shows that I think would be just super fun to watch. They're built around tech, and the whole time we're going to be learning different tech, so it serves the same purpose as a webinar or a sponsored tutorial. It'll just be story first. It'll be about people and the devs who are actually building this stuff in a way that I think will make it much more fun and much more appealing. Even if you're not necessarily here to learn that specific piece of tech, it should still be fun to watch, and not, the fact that you don't write whatever language won't matter, because that's not the point. The point is that you're getting to see people who do things similar to what you do, and learn a little bit about how the rest of us approach this stuff. So yeah, lots and lots of fun there. I won't be able to get to London. That's too bad. Web dev versus cyber security, which is best for career? Whichever one's more fun for you, I think. Like, both of them are good jobs. You can make good money in both. It's just got to be something that you're excited to do for a long time, and won't feel like you made choices. need a wait, what do you mean? You've never heard of any of these shows? That's okay. There are lots and lots of shows, and I think I find that like we sort of as subcultures like build the things that we care about, right? And so there's a corner of Twitter that seems to be dedicated to anime, and I watch anime, but not like a lot of anime, so I only know some of these shows. And so sometimes I see them talking about a show and I'm like, yeah, I watched that show. I'm excited and I want to participate. And a lot of times they're talking about something I've never heard of. But sometimes that discussion, I'll see somebody talking about a show and they're like, I love this show. And they loved a couple shows that I loved. And that makes me want to go check it out. So I love that sort of discussion. And I think that's what I think gives this so much power as an approach for companies is this idea that like, if we come at this from the standpoint of like trying to create space for people, then we, maybe one of the shows is for you and the other ones aren't, but somebody that you respect sees one of the other shows and like vouches for it and you go, you know what, maybe I will give that a shot. Like there's a much higher network effect possibility than with a webinar. Like very rarely do you see somebody come out of a webinar and go, y'all need to go watch that webinar, right? But we frequently say, oh man, I did this about the bear. I was like the season 2, the episode Forks is like, I think the best episode of television that I have ever seen. And I got online to talk about it because it was so good. I couldn't stop thinking about it, right? And, I'm not saying that I expect to be making like Emmy Award winning television or anything, but I think that there is stuff that we can do that makes it very discussion worthy and very, very interesting from that standpoint. And I think, I don't know, I feel like that's what I want. And like, even if I wasn't making it, I'd want to watch it. So, selfishly, obviously, I want to be the one to make it, but I kind of don't care. I just want it to exist. Generic title, kind of a generic title. I was running late, but I am planning on building some demos today. I have a project that I like roughed out that I want to keep messing with. I've actually got 2 things that I need to do, and maybe I'll put it up for an audience poll and y'all can tell me what I should do. I have a video that I need to make. So I got this company, BenQ Lighting, sent me one of their monitor lights that's supposed to help with like eye fatigue, and it lights up your desk space and all sorts of stuff like that. I am going to make like an unboxing and setup video. And so I was thinking if anybody was interested in seeing me actually make a video, I could do that on stream. We could kind of like run this camera, and then I could probably set up the iPhone, whatever, what is that called? Not Sidecar, continuity cam. And I can set up continuity cam and then kind of work through it and have I've got my other camera, my other camera that I would use to actually film the thing and go through that process. Or I am working on a video player in Astro, and my plan is first I'm going to build out a demo, and later it's going to go into Learn with Jason. I want to build out a demo of what a website would look like that shows videos, and if you click to play one, it'll open up in like a sticky player that will continue playing between page navigations so that you can start a video and then continue clicking around the site while you go. So what do y'all think for, like, what do you want to learn? Always interested in behind the scenes? Yeah. Let's see. Do you do any automated testing when you're programming, or is it all interactive poking about? So when I'm building production code, which admittedly has not been for a while, I like to write not full integration tests, but I do I like end-to-end tests. And at the time I was using Sentry, but what I would do is I would figure out what the core workflows were in an app, and I would make sure that my tests went through those. So go to the homepage, click the login button, actually sign in, go to your dashboard, click to your whatever. So you could make sure that all these pages worked and whatever. And then the same thing with like your shopping cart experience. Like go to the store, find an item, click add to cart, make sure it's in the cart, click checkout, make sure you go to Stripe or whatever the system was you're using. those types of tests have helped me catch silly bugs. Like if I've done things where, for example, I would accidentally get the Z index wrong and the button would be hidden, or not hidden, but like under an unclickable transparent element, and I didn't see it, but I didn't test the flow. So you go to click it and then the cart button is broken, and it's only broken for a few minutes because somebody reports it really fast, but not shipping that at all is better. And if your automated testing can just like click through the key flows, then you can make sure that your key flows always work. And then you get away from stuff that I think, stuff that I don't like about testing is when it gets so prescriptive that every time you make a change to the site, you have to make a change to the test suite. I feel like testing should be done to ensure that key behaviors are possible, not necessarily to make sure the site looks exactly the way that you planned for it to look. So like visual regression testing makes sense if you have key pages that are like very brand centric that need to look a certain way, right? Like making sure that you don't break that, fine, I'm into it. But if every single page on the site gets visually regression tested, and every time you push a change, you have to go and manually approve a bunch of visual regressions saying like, no, I meant to do this. No, I meant to do this. No, you know what I mean? That's terrible. Like that's not a good way to test. And I think the same is true with logic. Like if you're testing internal implementation details where like the API of a function that a customer will never call has to be updated because it got snapshot tested or something, does it matter? Like test the outcomes, test the behavior of the site, and make sure that people who use it can do the things that you designed it to be used for. Otherwise though, testing, I think like the goal with testing is to avoid the easy mistakes. It is not the high score, 100% coverage. It is not, academic rigor. It's making sure that the thing works for the things it's supposed to work for. And wherever that line is for you, I think is good. But yeah, so I do like testing, but I like it in a certain way, if that makes sense. So Sentry is for like monitoring errors on your site. So it will listen to see if things go wrong, and it'll listen on your front end and your back end. So on the JavaScript side, for example, it'll check to see if your site has errors, or if you get like failed fetch requests, or unhandled exceptions, things like that. And it creates a catalog of those that you can see, and it groups them. So like if you're getting the same error, it'll show how many of those you get. And you can set up other cool, there's a lot that it can do. Some of the cooler things are like you can watch an anonymized session where you actually see what somebody did. So it sort of shows you the site with stuff blurred out, but it shows you where the mouse goes, and it shows you like what they clicked on and where things break. And so that way you can get, without having to chase down a customer for a reproduction, you can get error reports and then go watch a video of like what actually broke and see the behavior, so you can go try to replicate yourself. They capture things like browser stats. They capture like regressions. Like if you mark a bug as fixed and then it detects it as being the same bug, it'll actually flag it as like, we think this bug is back. And then you can go in and check that out. It ties into GitHub issues. It ties into your source code if you ship it source maps and stuff. And so it's kind of nice because like if you've got Sentry configured well, which takes a little bit of doing, like there's a zero config, like here's the script and it'll just show you errors. And then you can go further and tie it into your source code and tie it into your GitHub or Jira or whatever. And it'll start giving you like more connections between those things where you can say, oh, this is a bug, create an issue. It'll create an issue for you. And then it gives you a link that jumps right to the place in the source code where it thinks the bug occurred. And so you can kind of review it there. It's really, really handy. It does the rage click detection. It does the replay so you can see what's going on. It does... you can do code coverage through there. They bought CodeCov, if you remember that company. It does a bunch of other stuff. But to answer your question, they did a few things that have really boosted their prominence. So they've been around for a long time. They are actually, if you look at like Sentry, the company, they're huge. They are a massive company. But recently, they did a few things that put them on the radar. They acqui-hired the syntax team, so Wes Boss and Scott Talinsky. Scott is now full-time at Sentry working on syntax. Wes, I think, he's like a contractor for, I don't exactly know the arrangement, but like both of them got effectively brought on to do syntax full-time under the Sentry banner, but without, like, the direction I've heard is that they've explicitly been told, like, don't make this like a Sentry vehicle, like just do what you've been doing and it's presented by Sentry and that's all it needs to be. So Sentry's got like they've taken an interesting approach here where they're aware that like being a buoy for the ecosystem is a really smart play for awareness, because it's cool to talk about a company that's just funding syntax. It's not cool to talk about a company that buys and then subsequently kind of ruins a property that we all loved. And we've seen similar drama with like DigitalOcean and CSS Tricks, where we were really hopeful and then it kind of went bad, right? So syntax and Sentry is, I think, an example of doing it right. And I'm hopeful that it works. You know, obviously when you do something that doesn't have direct ROI, it's usually the first thing to get cut when things go bad. So we'll see what happens if Sentry ever hits hard times. I hope they see it as the community awareness and affinity play that it is, and continue to value that, because it would be, I don't know, it's a good example, I think. But they're also, beyond syntax, they're looking into a lot more just ecosystem content. They're sponsoring more people. They're creating more opportunities for people to do stuff. They sponsor a lot of events. So yeah, so if you're seeing them all over the place, it's because they're putting a lot of effort into it. But they're really good. I use it on Learn with Jason. It's helpful. They've got a good free tier if you just want to kind of try it out and see how it works. But yeah, I mean, I don't use it on any big product. I use it on Learn with Jason, and it's helpful because it's caught a couple goofy things that I've done. Like I pushed something where all the watch now buttons disappeared on my site. Don't ask. But that caught it because when people were clicking, it was throwing errors because like there wasn't anything to click, right? So whole issues like that. I mean, over advertising is tough, right? Because for everybody who sees one of those ads, like I actually don't see any Datadog advertising, really, like a little bit, but not much. I see a ton of Notion advertising, and I remember back in the day I saw a ton of Monday advertising. But I mean, at the same time, like that type of advertising, it does work. And I think the trick is to just make ads that aren't irritating. Like what's that one? There's an insurance company that spends so much money on like YouTube advertising. It's got like an ostrich or an emu, and it's an insurance thing. I don't remember, but the Nationwide maybe, I don't know. Anyways, they advertise a lot, and their ads are like nonsense. Obviously, I mostly remember, clearly not well enough to remember what the brand is, but like I know the aesthetics of it. Oh, in London, Notion ads are everywhere. All right. But yeah, that's Linode mass advertising on several YouTube videos. That's funny. That's funny that it goes the opposite way, right? Because like I guess there is a tipping point where you can just be irritating. But yeah, I don't know. I like Monday was interesting because Monday advertised so hard, and I'd never heard of this company at all. I don't think anybody had really heard of them, and I think like there was obviously more to it. But from the outside looking in, it was, I'd never heard of Monday. I saw them as a pre-roll ad on YouTube for almost every video for like a year and a half. And then I saw them listed alongside Linear and Trello and Jira and, Product Board as like the tool for product planning. And I thought that was kind of amazing. It was almost like they used an advertising strategy to become a household name. And I assume the product was good because I can't imagine people would use it if they got there and it was terrible. But it was very interesting to me. That's a great question. I have no idea what Monday was before they were, like Monday.com is what I'm thinking about, which is it's like a product management tool. I've never actually used it. I've just seen the ads a bunch. Anyways, where do we land? Do y'all want to see me write some code, or do y'all want to see me make some video today? Because I should probably do one or the other. I mean, obviously, happy to take any questions as well. All right, we've got to vote for code. All right, give me a second because I just realized I left my coffee over there, and that was a grave mistake. Right back. Okay. All right, we've got water. We've got coffee. Duly hydrated. And let's see. We got 3 votes for code. Or I guess 2 votes for code. So I'm going to do code. I see the Twitter numbers are lying again. Hey, anybody from Twitter, say that you're here. If you were watching from Twitter, say hello, because I don't believe that anybody is actually watching from Twitter, despite the fact that it is currently reporting 551 simultaneous people. Yeah, I like there's just a button on StreamYard to go to Twitter, so I clicked it, and it, as far as I can tell, like grossly over-reports the viewership numbers. Because I have yet to see any commentary from Twitter, really. Is it a new thing? I can't, like, sort of. I think it's... I know that it's less than a year old, so it is new-ish. I don't know how new. Oh, hey, we got somebody from Twitter. What's up, Patrick? How you doing? All right. Well, I guess maybe it's not fully lying to me then. Yeah, I mean, like I know that a couple people are watching, but it is certainly not like now it says 562. I think it's like every time somebody goes by the stream, they just increment the counter. I think it's definitely kind of like the view counts. Like if you scroll past something, even if it's too fast to read it, they count it as a view. All right. Anyways, let's do a little code. So let me show you what I've been doing, and then I'm going to I think I'll actually like just kind of start fresh on this. Maybe. What is happening? Why are you doing that? Okay, you get out of here. And all right, so I've got this page is still running good. So if I come out here, I have this, and this is still kind of buggy because I'm still trying to work it out. But here's the idea. Is I want to be able to go into a page like this, find one of these videos, click play. Are you dead? Oh, hold on. Okay. So it starts playing, and then you can put it in mini player mode, and you can just start clicking around, right? And you can see the video is still playing down here, even as I'm going around. And then if I click on another one, see, and there's some stuff that I need to fix, like the states get out of whack. But anyways, this is what I want to build in a more stable way. And the code over here is just a wreck. Like I've been all over the place trying to figure this out. I was trying to get the Mux player to work. I really like the idea of Mux. They have a nice web component player, but it wasn't playing nice with this approach. So I might try to get this running again and then see if I can implement it once I've got the rest of it running and see if maybe it was something I was doing wrong. But ultimately, this is all just being done through, this is right now a video element, just a plain old, where is it? It is a plain old video element, and then I'm using Astro's view transitions to make this work. Probably an incremental counter. That's what I'm assuming. Wait, what? You can watch it from the feed, and if you're not watching it in the broadcast view, the chat doesn't show? Oh, interesting. Huh. I did not know. Okay, well, maybe, I mean, I still think Twitter is over-reporting because we are now up to over 600, so I think it is just like an incremental counter. Everybody who stops in, they count it as a permanent viewer, even if they leave. But that does make sense because hardly anybody participates from Twitter, and I would guess that that's, yeah, if it's hard to find the chat, that makes sense. I had to click on the video. Okay, that makes sense. Oh, also, oh, Patrick, you're coming between both places. Got it. All right, cool. So yeah, it's you know, a little chaotic over on Twitter. But all right, so let's maybe revisit this, right? And let's start back at 0 and see if we can build this again. So here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop here. We're going to git checkout. Or actually, let's just check the status real quick. Okay, so I've got my existing pieces. So I'm going to git stash. I don't have an initial. Okay, is it going to let me commit with like Astro template? It is. Okay, great. So so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to git check out a branch, and we're going to call this initial exploration, and then we're going to git add all of this. Oh, and it's going to be way too big because the videos are in there. Do I want to commit 20 gigs or 20 megabytes of videos to GitHub? I guess I can clean it up later. It's fine. We'll just say initial exploration, and okay, and then we could just go back to our main branch, and if we look out here, we will see that we've got what? We've got our basic Astro index. We've got Astro config. It's empty. Our package JSON. So we're back at a standard Astro site. And if I npm run dev, we can see that. So there's nothing here. No tricks up my sleeve. No components or anything. And so the first thing I want to do is I want to create. Let's actually create an Astro collection for my videos because I made that mistake earlier. And to do that, I want to make a .json thing. Should I do? Well, no, I don't want to necessarily throw it into a database. Well, actually, that might be faster if I can just use the thing. So why not? Why don't we use the database AstroDB? Because then I can like use the web UI instead of having to edit a bunch of JSON files, and that'll be okay. So I'm going to npx astro add db. And then that's going to have us set up a database file, so dbconfig.ts. Oh, you weren't actually stopped. npx astro add db. I was like, why is that hanging? It's because I never actually ran the command. Yes, I do want to do that. Yes, I want to set up the integration. Okay, so now we have all right, we got everything's in there. We've got Astro DB. Good, good, good. And if I come up to my DB folder, we're going to import from Astro DB. We'll get define DB and export default define DB tables. Okay. And our table is going to be called videos. That'll be define table. You don't have that one automatically. Here. Then we set up our columns. And our columns are going to be, we need an ID. And that'll be column, whoa. Column. Dot text. We'll have the title be column dot text. And we'll have the slug, which will also be column dot text. And then finally, stop helping. You're helping too much. And then we end up with the, let's go with the URL, and we'll make that column dot text as well. And I might be able to do more with that, but I'm not going to stress about it today, so we'll save that. And then, let's see, I don't need any of those. I can make this one primary key. That seems like a good call. I can seed my database. That would be fine. Seed.ts. And we'll import db and I immediately forgot what I called it. How did this happen too? So comment. So they're setting it up with a full name. So it's video like this. Okay, so do it like that. And then we're going to get video from Astro DB. And I guess I probably need to start this. So npm run dev. So it picks up my actual database. And now it actually knows it's there, and it can see the table and stuff, which is wonderful, wonderful. Everything I needed. So then down here, when I go to seed, I can export default async function, and we will await db.ins. Let's do it like, oh, I can just do more than one. So await db.insert video values, and we get autocomplete. I love it. And for these, I guess we'll just do like, I guess we can just do something like this. So we'll do an ID, we'll do a title, and we needed a slug. And finally, a URL. And for those, I'm actually I think I'm gonna use Cloudinary, because before I wasn't using Cloudinary, and it was, I think, they're just too big. Like I shouldn't be putting megabytes of video into my GitHub repository. That seems silly. So why don't we go into Learn with Jason? We'll do one of these. This is probably fine. And then I'll grab, you go over here. And let's see, what did I had quiet. That's the small version. And how big is this one? That's huge. Let's see, ffmpeg, reduce file size. I think I've done this before. There it is. And one of these. Okay, so really quickly, we will reduce the file size of this. So we'll just get into iTerm to video. And it was 2024 0318. There it is. Exports. Okay, so then I'm going to run this one here. Okay. The good part's small. And we'll just let that run for a minute. That's going to reduce the file size, hopefully in a way that doesn't make it super noticeable that I reduced the file size, but I suppose we'll see. And then that'll give us 2 smaller images. That's going to take about 3 minutes, I think, judging by, or 3.5 minutes-ish. Because I think this is 2 minutes long, if I remember correctly. These are videos out of my other series that I've been working on, which is this one here. This is I'm doing daily video challenges to myself. And this has been a lot of fun. Like I'm keeping these unlisted actually. Like the only way you can get to them is if you find this challenge or this particular playlist. So like my goal isn't necessarily to make these big. I'm looking at these more like, Jesus. I'm looking at these more like deliberate practice. Like I'm thinking about all the things that I want to get better at in my filmmaking and trying to pick something that I want to focus on and kind of work on that specific thing. So like in this one, for example, my goal was to work on like day in the life stuff. And you can see, I forgot my ND filter. So this footage is all blown out. It was way too bright. And then I wanted to like create a little scene of like what I was doing, right? So I asked, this guy's great. He was down to like let me film while he made the coffee, and so I got a little B-roll there, and then I wanted to work on like B-roll of in the space. So this is it's an active church, but like the coffee shop's not in the church. It's a Portland church, so it's very like not churchy, and they have this big space that they just kind of opened up as a coffee shop. And so it's, great light. You can see these cool windows that I wish I could have exposed for. And then, I take this douchey art shot. Why not? But so all of this was me trying to get better at like just having a camera, being out somewhere and like focusing on capturing a sequence of events, right? And the other ones, like this one, for example, where was it? This one, I was trying to do this sort of like lo-fi props, like visual aids. And so the whole goal for me was to try to do a better job of like little inserts like this. So, I had made a point about a guitar, so I picked up my guitar. I made a point about like being in the zone, so I did a little thing about being in the zone. So anyways, all this is me just trying to sort of practice on a specific thing and make sure that I'm steadily improving here. We should be just about done. There it is. And so now if I go into here and I pull up this again, this here, I should have, let's see, the original was 177 megs. This one is 16.8. Perfect. And then if I copy this, this one should be, let's see, do something like this. And then because it's Cloudinary, I can do like an F auto, Q auto, and it will automatically resize that even further. Oh, dang it. F auto, Q auto. And then that should, let's reload, should actually be even smaller in the grand scheme of things. So if I run this, the video's 3.5 megabytes. Dang. No, it's still streaming. Okay. So they like progressively load it here. How big is it at the end? 5.4. This is chaos. Do you see what it's doing here? What is it doing? And I guess it's not interrupting the playback, so that's fine. I wonder if it's like re-encoding on the fly because I'm the first person to watch this. What's up, Easy Code? We are currently getting some assets ready so that I can start building a little video player in Astro. So you haven't missed much yet. Have some concerns about a few things, but I want to use them for Beatbot's new dashboard. Yeah, absolutely. Happy to answer some questions. You're not that late. You're not that late. We're okay. Okay, so, all right, so check this out. So Cloudinary took it down to 6.4 megabytes in addition to me already having reduced the size. So it's, like, this is why I use it, honestly, is because it can do things like that. So that'll be one of our videos here. So that's Quiet Days. And then we'll duplicate, we won't do anything like that. What is that? We're going to copy paste to, what was the other one I uploaded? The good parts. All right, so then we've got here, and then I just need to get that URL. So yeah, so it dropped about 25% of the size with the Q auto and format auto, which is pretty cool. Drop that in, and then I'm going to copy this piece out, put it in here, and now we'll do the same thing for the good parts. I'm not going to watch it to let it encode. We'll just kind of let that roll. But this should, what are you unhappy about? Oh. Trailing commas. Okay. So those will be our two videos that start, and maybe I should also put the thumbnails in. Why don't we do that? Because I'm going to want those. So I think I have those here. Yeah, here's Quiet Days, and here's the good parts. All right. What is happening with this? Okay, so we'll copy that, and then I'm going to go back in, and here's something cool about the Astro DB stuff, is if I go in and I say thumbnail, it will automatically restart, and then if I go into seed and I say thumbnail, it'll stop yelling at me momentarily. And this was the good parts. No, that was quiet days. And we'll do the same thing with this one where we want the F auto, Q auto. And then get back here, grab this one. Okay, so now we should have a database with our 2 videos kind of seated in it, and that makes me happy. So then I will be able to go out here, and we should, assuming I'm doing all of this correctly, let's close some of these windows we're not using. Okay, I should now be able to actually get our database stuff and display it on this home page. So could we automate this? 1000% yes, we could automate this. Like what I'm doing right now is I'm kind of manually configuring my 2 database entries, but there's an SDK for Cloudinary. There's an SDK for not an SDK, but like just an interface for programmatically creating things in the database. So what I could do is every time I uploaded a video, I could like run a little script that would grab, I still have to make my thumbnails and stuff, but like I could drop those 2 files into a folder and say upload, and it would like create an entry that uploads those, modifies the URLs, creates a new database entry in Astro, and so on and so forth. So yeah, there's lots of ways that we could do it. We could also do something where we could have like a drag and drop interface where I would drop the file into my Astro site, which would upload it to Cloudinary, and then I would get back the resource ID. I could build out the tweaked URL and then save that in the database. Like there are a lot of ways that you could make this flow. It just kind of depends on what you want to build. Today, I want to focus on using the data, but actually that could be a fun follow-up is trying to figure out a way to make the uploading process even less painful. So let's do this. I want to actually query my database here. So I'm going to import. Actually, before I do this, I'm going to take this piece out and put it into a layout because I know that I'm going to need a layout later. So that's going to be our layout. And for now, we're just going to kind of keep everything really simple. We'll come back and clean this up later. But for now, I can take all of this we'll import layout from layouts default. Okay, so now looking at this, if I come back out here, we got the same outcome, but our layout is kind of abstracted away so that we don't have quite so much mess here. So then I can import my database from Astro DB, and I want to query it. So I need to get my video, and videos will be await DB select from video, and down here we're just gonna list them. So we'll say videos.map, that gives us a video, and then in here we'll be able to return, I guess we'll just do like a div, and inside of each of these I want to have a, I don't know, we'll start with just the image source will be the video dot thumbnail, and note we got the autocomplete. Love that. And for alt, I should write actual alt. I will use the title for now, and then we'll set up the actual title, and we need a link. So we'll say ahref equals And we'll make it video, and that needs to be the slug. Okay, so if I'm right and I didn't screw anything up, there we go. Everything is kind of working the way that we want. We will we'll clean this up a little bit. So let's do a section. We'll give it a class name of videos. And that goes outside. Okay, so then we can set up our style. And for videos, we will do a display flex. We'll have it, let's see, justify content, center. We'll do a gap of like 2 rem. And then inside here, we will use the nested thingy to get... let's give this a name because I'm probably going to end up with something else in here later. So we'll give this a class of video. So go with a video, and that will be, oh, I don't know. Maybe it doesn't need anything, and we can just go straight to the image, and the image will be display block. It's going to be width 100%. Height auto. Much better. Okay. And I guess we can say like max. We'll go with, what is it? It's inline size. And we'll say max. How do I want to do this? I want it to be like, you know what? Why don't we just keep it simple for now? We'll go with 200 pixels, and we will let this wrap. Flex wrap is wrap if we need to. So if we add more, they'll just wrap around and keep going. Then we can have the H2. Maybe we should even, let's open up the layout here. And down here, we can do a style, make it is global. And we'll just set up some baseline stuff here. We'll say box sizing is going to be border box. We'll have the HTML do a font family is going to be system UI. Sure. We'll do a font size is going to be 16 pixels, which I think is default anyways, but it's always nice to set that explicitly. Line height will be 1.45, and that's probably good enough for what we're trying to do today. So we can come back here then, and we'll say for our H2, we want the margin block to be 0. No, we want it to be 0.5. Okay, and for the paragraphs, we want the margin block to be 0. Forgot something important. When you're doing typography, I like to set the headings, whoops, H6, to have a lower line height because it makes everything a little more readable. Like high line heights on headings it's just hard for me to parse. So anyways, this is going to be our setup here. So then let's get to our index page, and maybe we link this as well. So I'm going to take this, and we're just going to not you, get out of there. There we go. That's better. All right. So now we've got a link here, and if we click through, it doesn't work, and that's because we haven't set up the page yet. So let's set up the page. And it was video, and then we need the slug. Get out of my way. Please stop helping. All right. And in here, we're going to need a couple things. This is a dynamic page, so we'll need our layout. And that's going to be layouts default. Let's make this a little bigger so we can actually see what's going on. And then in here, I need to do a couple things. We need to export default, get static. No, that's not it. Get static paths. That's the one I was looking for. So get static paths. Export cons. That was it. So we need to actually tell it what the available pages are. So to do that, we're going to import DB and video from Astro DB. Cannot find Astro B. Get out of here. You exist. So then we're going to get videos. So await DB select from video. And then we're going to videos.map. We'll get a video. And for each of these, we need to return params, which is going to be the slug. It's interesting that it doesn't think this exists. Like, I know you exist. And then we get the props. And in this case, we'll just pass in the video as is so that we've got the whole video. So are you going to yell at me now? Yeah, that's what I thought. You exist. All right. So then, because we've passed the video as the props, we're going to be able to export interface props. And that's going to be a video, which will be a video. Is that going to work? That'd be neat if that worked. And then we can get our video out of the Astro props. So then down here, I can do like an H1, and that's going to have the video.title. And let's just make sure this is working before it is working. Okay, great. So then we'll have like, let's just copy paste. What is that button? What did I just do? Nope. Here. Why don't we just take this piece and we'll set up a little, oops. Set up a little bit of style here on the image. Just make sure that it's max block inline size is going to be 100% of its container. There we go. Okay, so not perfect, but also not terrible. So let's go back to here, and we need to add in like a little header. And inside, we can set up an href for home. And we'll just call it home for now. So now we can get back. We can click in. We can get back. All right. So now we've got our site running off Astro DB. And oh, okay. So the get static pass with the params and all that. All right. So this is probably worth just a quick review on, because it is a little weird. So when you're building a site statically, which in my case I am, you need to know all of the pages before you build, right? So you're telling Astro, these are all the pages that you're going to get. And the way that we do that is by sending this get static paths, which is a list of every page that could be rendered under this video slug. And so if you have the slug in square brackets here, what you're saying is I'm going to get a param of slug. So each video that I load has to supply the slug so that Astro can map this URL to this video in the entry array. And then we get to say what's available to the page once you get to this site, right? And that way I'm just in my case sending the whole video, but you could probably make it simpler. You could send, just the title and thumbnail if this is all we were going to use, for example. But in my case, we're probably going to end up using the whole thing. So we're going to just send the whole thing through. But then we end up with this turns into our list of pages. Each page then has access to our props, and the props, so the slug determines which entry in this array is being used for rendering, and we get the props from that particular entry, and then we can just render the page. So it's it's a little bit of like a roundabout to make it happen, but it's the way that we used to do this was with like config.ts files where you'd write all these loops to register pages. And I'm not sure there's like a good or a bad way. This way to me feels a little less difficult to parse because it's like together as opposed to being, off in the astro.config or something. Yeah, exactly. The params map the URL to an entry, and then the entries have the props for the page. So, all right, here we are. We have basic setup. So then the next thing that I want to be able to do is I want to have a player that sits at the bottom. And to do that, I'm going to create a component. And we'll call this component video player. And we're going to stick with probably just Astro today. We'll see. We might end up changing that as we go, but for now I think we should be okay. So I'm going to call this div, and we'll give it a class of video player. And inside of it, we are going to have two pieces. So I want the video itself. Yeah, why don't we do this? Let's have the video itself, and that video source. To start, let's hard code it. So I'll go get one of my video values. And let's put controls on it. We could put a bunch more on there, but I'm not going to stress about it right now. So then once we're through there, I want to have a div. We'll give this a class of video details. And inside of this, I want to have the video title. Which one did I grab? Good parts. So we'll do something like this. And then maybe I don't know, maybe we'll have like a paragraph. It's like telling it to go actually see the details. And then maybe we want another div down here that's got controls. And for now, we'll to-do on controls because I think that's going to be the hardest part, and I want to make sure that we've got the right pieces here. Okay, so now I'm going to play a game, which is, can I style this on the first try without actually seeing it on screen? So we're gonna go for a one-take styling, and the way I want this to work is I want it to sit at the bottom of the screen, and I want it to have the video on the left and these details on the right. Or let's see which direction are y'all seeing? This is So video over here, and then details kind of coming off to the side like this, right? And so I'm going to see if I can get that coded up on the first try. So we will say it's going to be display flex. It is going to be position sticky. We're going to do inset block end is going to be 0. Inset inline is going to be 0. That should stick it to the bottom and the sides. I'm going to give it a background of, let's just go with like a light gray kind of thing because I want it to be visible. I'm going to end up actually styling it later, but this is just so that we can see where it is, like what space it's occupying. And then, let's see. Hey, David. And thank you very much. I got this hat in Denver at Meow Wolf, which was super weird and very fun. All right, so flex, sticky. I have my video itself is going to be inline size of 300 pixels to start, so that'll kind of make it fit like here-ish. And then need an aspect ratio of 16:9. I want the block size to be auto because I don't want it to fight if I have a video that's got like an automatic height set or something. I want the aspect ratio to take it. What else does it need? We'll go with display block so we don't get any weird like inline margins. And then I also need my controls to be... Do I actually need anything with these? They might be okay. I think I might just leave these alone for now and we'll see what happens. So I think that should work. So let's go get it into the layout. This is going to come in from video player. Oh. We'll go with like a C+ on that. So why didn't this... It didn't occupy the full space because I think my body needs a min height. We'll go with 100 dVH. Oh, that's not still... Did my stickiness not work for a different reason? There's my... Okay, so there's the body. You should be stuck down at the bottom. Fixed? Fixed. That was the problem. So that needs to be position fixed. And now it sits where I want it to sit, and then these need some padding. Not the controls. This, well, that was a lot of the problem in the first place. So this is video details. There we go. All right, so this is kind of what I want to see. And then when you click on one of these, we want it to play down here. And that then needs to kind of stick as you move around, right? And you see how right now, see how it's reloading every time? That's what we want to fix. So if I go into Astro and I import view transitions and drop that down here, that'll have the pages themselves transition, which is already neat. I'm into it. But then the piece that I want to do with this is I want this part. If I just have it do that, does that work? Let's see. No, that's still reloading. So the part that needs to persist is, in fact, the video player itself. Yeah, I see that. So now, when this is playing, it's not broken. Good. Okay. So we're happy about that. That is good. If I put it on this one and not this one, does it work? I'm not 100% clear on how all of these work. Okay, so that's better. That's better. That's probably what we want. And then we want transition, animate, none, because a little flicker that happens here. And I want to make sure that that's not the case. There, that works. So, okay. At least I think that worked. Now, are you seeing that? It's kind of like flickering on me. So you don't animate. That's the part that I care about. So it's still doing it. Do you see that? Okay. So already I'm happy. Like this is pretty close to what I wanted. I think the biggest pieces, I mean, and part of me too, maybe I don't need to build out like a whole thing because you've already got this part built in and like it'll detect screen flow or Chromecast and Apple TV and stuff like that if you're using a browser that supports it. So maybe I don't need the full controls. Maybe the point is to just kind of have good details like this so that you know where you're going and you can like bounce over to that page and see what's happening. I don't know. I'm pretty happy with that. What do y'all think? And that's really simple. Like this is really, really, yes, it is indeed. It's got some magic vibes for sure. Like it's, I would say the nice thing about this is it's built entirely on top of the view transition spec in browsers. So there's no like magic, but it does abstract away so much of the view transition spec. And I think for good reason, because it view transitions is like a low level API, right? And it is possible to build stuff entirely on your own with it, but you're handling like forwards and backwards animations, and you have to deal with like the way that it works is like when you do a view transition, it basically screenshots things and like composites those screenshots and then fades them and then like there's a lot happening under the hood that's like not super important for you to directly manage. And it's nice that you don't have to. And I think that's one of the reasons I like the Astro view transitions approach is like by default, it just kind of does the thing that you probably want it to do. And then you kind of get some bonuses. And then you have like, you can fully customize this animation and you can opt out of this entirely and just use the view transition spec if you prefer. For me, I like not having to do that, so I choose to use the Astro stuff. So then the next thing, now that we've got view transition in here, is check this out. I can go to my index page here, and I can set up this transition name, and I'm going to name it video.slug. Then I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to go into this page, and I'm going to do the same thing, right? And now watch. Bloop. Like, is that not the coolest thing? I love this so much. Like, this makes me so happy because I have always wanted to build this sort of stuff, but the level of complexity that goes into it is just so high that I just cannot bring myself to care. But now I just get to do it. And I think that's really cool. So the magic, like the secret sauce of what I just did here is if you give two elements the same transition name, they get linked. So that's why like this one is animating back to this place and this one will animate back to this place because they have the same name. And so they, when you cross-link, the browser will look and see, okay, this one's got a transition name. Does anything on the next page have that same transition name? If so, I'm going to, by default, it kind of does this little animation thing. You can have it do all sorts of stuff. Like you can have things kind of fly in and out or whatever. It doesn't really matter. But yeah, competing with the native app feel is exactly right. Like it's, you know, it's definitely got some stuff. Like I can see if I slow this way down, I'm pretty sure the Z index is wrong here, and like this one is actually behind. Actually, can I make that slower? How would one do that? Can I? View transitions. Built-in animation options. No, I don't want that. I just want the duration. Do I have to do a custom animation to get duration though? Like I can't. Oh, that sucks. Whatever. It's fine. I don't care enough to actually like custom code just to see the thing. But I'm pretty sure that it's there are like some little things that I'll probably end up digging into and cleaning up to like set the Z index high enough that it's on top of this one and so on and so forth. But yeah, you definitely can use the CSS stuff. I just so far haven't. And the other thing and this is where the magic part of Astro gets a little tricky, because they're scoping things. They also change the names of the transition, so you can't like directly target with CSS the same way that you would if you had written this yourself. So I think that's like one little complaint I have is I would love to have a bit more of a seamless bridge in Astro between the CSS part of the transitions, because right now it's sort of unless I'm misunderstanding, which is definitely possible, but I believe you're either all in or all out. Like you're either using the Astro version or you're using the browser version, and the cross is tricky because the names aren't the same. So you can do like global view transition settings, but not like specific ones if I get it correctly. So can I copy this? You know what? I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole. This is good enough, and I want to get the actual player part running. Ooh, do you see this? We broke it. This part's broken now. So I need to get back to my player, and we're going to make sure that this video specifically persists because I need that part. See, why are you doing that? You were fine a minute ago. Why did you suddenly start doing that? Is it because I put an animation thing on you? What the hell? Do I need to put it out here? Okay. Y'all remember that that was working, right? Like, I'm not making that up. Okay, so something that I changed, let's work backward. Something that I changed caused that to break. So let's go into the video player. I put this on. So it was definitely working like this. And now it is not. Is it because I put these animations on? That shouldn't have anything to do with it, right? Yeah, it's definitely doing the thing now. Okay. So what is causing that to happen? Let's go back in here. Let's take these off. Oh no. So those are somehow conflicting. But why? What would cause that? See, this is inside here. So, all right, let's reason through this. The videos themselves are inside. They're inside this div, and the slot for the layout is outside of it. So we have, like, this is where everything happens. So when we introduce, also, what's the minimum number of places that I can put that transition persist before it stops working? Like, if I just put it on the outside one, does it work? No. Okay. So if I just put it on the video, okay, so that one works. Does that mean it doesn't need this? That is definitely still animating, and it's kind of making me... Like, I really don't want that to animate. I just kind of want it to... I think it's okay now. Okay, so that's what I wanted. It's no... What I was seeing before, I don't know if it was even coming through, is there was like a... No, it is definitely doing it. There's like some kind of weird color shift. It's really subtle, but very annoying. Anyways, I'll dig into that and figure out why it's not working. But now the million-dollar question is, why would adding anything elsewhere on the page cause this to fail? So if I do the transition name, and we call this video slug, Now, does that immediately break it? Like, yeah, any name causes this to break. Do I need to name, oops. Do I need to name this one? Oh, it needs a name because otherwise it's looking to see, okay, so I think that might be, maybe we just solved this problem. Let's try. Hey, there it is. Okay, so here's the problem. When we introduce names, Astro starts looking for names. And so I've named this, oops. So I've named this, this image here, and it's looking for somewhere to send it. And so I don't know exactly why, but the introduction of a name caused this transition, maybe because it was looking to see if it matched one of these two names, to reset. So it couldn't persist. But by giving it a name, it's clear that this isn't part of the same transition. So these can now run together. Okay, so kind of a confusing thing. I'm kind of making a list of notes that I want to talk to the Astro team about for things that are confusing me here. But the nice thing is pretty straightforward. If you're going to use names everywhere. And this, I'm using a shortcut where you can specify a name right on persist. I could also, do persist and then have the transition name. And just to validate that that is not me making stuff up, let's do it. So here's our transition name. Yeah. And I really wish this would stop doing whatever that flicker thing is. It's still doing it. Whatever. All right. I think that's the one that I'm most interested in talking to the Astro team about because I don't understand. Okay. What's up, Michael? How you doing? The subtle shift, it's transitioning the play from page to page. So yeah, so it's slightly alphas, but this is that's what this is supposed to do, is turn off the animation so that it doesn't fade in and out. Because what I believe is happening is that it's persisted, but it's still kind of like moving between the two so that there's an animation there. But yeah, I don't know. I'm confused by why this particular, maybe it's like something outside of it is doing the alpha in and out. But either way, there's probably a way to fix it. I just don't. Yeah. Well, it's not flickering like. Let me make this bigger. It's not flickering like watch the. I don't know if this is even coming through, but watch the background colors here and watch how they kind of like. This is too big because it's covering up the thing. So we'll have to figure out exactly how that works, like what it works like at bigger sizes. But do you see how it kind of really subtly, the colors themselves sort of flicker there? And I don't exactly know why, but it's not the end of the world. Like, even if that is happening, I'm still pretty happy with this outcome because somebody can navigate the site and still watch a video at the same time, right? So that feels pretty good. That seems like a reasonable thing to do. I would like to fix it. I'm going to chase it down with the Astro team, and if I figure it out, I'll share. But yeah, It seems to me like probably a wrapper is doing an animation if I can figure out which wrapper needs the animation turned off. Well, it would make sense that it's an opacity thing, actually. So in one of these, the way that it works, I can show you, is watch up here when I click. See that view transition layer? So what that's doing is it creates this like view transition layer, and then it's got the old page and the new page, and then it does some kind of transition between them, which by default is a fade. And so it's quite literally taking two screenshots and cross-fading them. And that's why you get this sort of opacity judder, is because of how that works. The irritating part is that I'm trying to turn it off, and whatever I'm doing isn't bubbling properly, or it doesn't work the way that I think it works. Either is possible. But yeah, so that's what I need to fix, is figuring out where in the chain I need to set the animation to none to get that to work. In fact, what if I set it at the root? Let's just try it. Let's see what happens if I set transition animation to none. Oh, I don't think it's doing it. Okay, hold on. No, it's still doing it. It's really subtle, so it's not the end of the world. But like, yeah, see? And I even said, look, like dog. Am I doing this wrong? Is it? No, that's transition animate. Yeah, that little judder is real weird. What if I put it on HTML? Still does it. Okay, so I got to figure out where it's actually happening. Somewhere in this chain, it's doing the thing, but I'm still pretty happy that we're getting this outcome. Like that looks good. Very happy about this. So then, so view transitions are built with a snapshot of the page. When you persist the element, it doesn't get unmounted and remounted between pages, so it sort of shifts into a single page app approach. But how that's being reconciled, I'm not 100% sure. And my guess is that somewhere between what I think is happening and how they're reconciling it is where my gap in understanding is, and why I'm not able to get this to stop. So probably as soon as I ask, somebody on the team is going to be like, oh yeah. And then there will probably, knowing the Astro team, there will be a doc that explains it very soon. But yeah, this is cool. It's very cool. I'm very happy with it. So yeah, we'll keep playing. We'll see what we get figured out. All right. Let's get the play buttons to work. So inside here, we need the ability to watch the video, right? So to do that, we are going to it's video wrapper, I guess. And then inside, I'm going to have a button, and that button is going to be I don't know if this is a good idea, but it makes more sense to my brain. So we're going to do it like that. And then inside, we've got our play button. All right, so let's style that up a little bit. We've got our video wrapper, and I want that to be position relative. And then I want the button that to be position absolute. And I want it to be, is there like an auto? No, there's not. Okay, so we're gonna go with, how would I do this? Actually, you know what we can do is we can make this will be the piece that has the aspect ratio of 16:9, and it will have a width of 100%. And then I'm gonna set it up to be display block, no, display flex, and we'll place content. Is that right? And then this piece will be like that. So we'll go with a position relative, oops, z-index of 10. And then here we'll go with a z-index of 1. Okay, there's our button. And okay, so this one I want to have a display of block. I want, let's go with an aspect ratio of 1. And we'll go with a block size of, I don't know, about 100 pixels. No? Okay, but you are supposed to be centered. So what's happening here? Does that mean I don't need this? It does. Okay. And then let's see. So we've got our button. We can make the background, I don't know, let's go with like a, let's grab like an OKLCH color. Have y'all seen this site, by the way? This site is dope. So we can take the hue until we get somewhere that we like. Let's go with, I don't know, maybe a nice like deep purpley color. Sure, that's fine. And then I'm going to copy this and drop it in here. And then I want it to have some alpha, so I'm going to set it to be like 0.85. And then I want my border radius to be 50%. It's going to be a circular button. Okay, then we want the border itself to be none. And I want the color, we'll say white for now. Okay, and finally, I need like a triangle icon. Maybe what I should do is do I just want to make an SVG for this? That feels like a good little rabbit hole. That's probably a smart thing to do, right? It's a good use of our time. Let me get at somewhere in here. I think I've already built one of these, and I can just grab the actual setup. see, maybe we just go to one of these. Drop this in there. And just make sure that it's the right size for our icon. The interesting thing about these is always like it's optical alignment. Like you want the same distance between the points, not the actual like center, because that's off center. So then you just end up eyeballing it. I could probably measure for real, but I'm not gonna. That seems like that's okay. Let's make it white. And if I make this whatever my purple color was, or a purple color, that should be pretty good. So, all right, let me get this out of there, and then we're gonna export this as an SVG. And then we're gonna open up SVG OMG. We're gonna drop this right in there. Oh, it did the background. Try again. There we go. Then I can copy the markup, come back in here, and we will put this right in here, and then I'm gonna set up a span, and we'll call this visually hidden. So I'm gonna have to add that class. Okay, so let's go get our visually hidden. And here we go. Back to my default here, get into the global styles. Set all that up, and then if we come back out here, we should see, that's the wrong thing, this thing. Hey, look at that. Okay, so then we just need to figure out how to get this centered properly. So that's not being rendered, and that's good. So we've got our button. We've got our SVG, so our button itself should be, it is display block. Our SVG should also be display block, have a margin of 0 and a width of 100%. And did that make any changes whatsoever? It sure didn't. Whatever. I think we're close enough here. So I'm gonna I think what I'm gonna do is, all right, so none of those changes I made any difference, so I can toss those. And then I can come back out to my player. And for this button, I'm, instead of doing nothing, I'm gonna do one pix solid, and we're going to use my OKLCH, but I'm going to bring it all the way over here, something kind of like that. And we'll do a point, maybe like a 0.5 on it. That's too much. 0.25? Just enough to set it off from the background, see? So that's my plan. And then now we've got a button. So I know that there's like feelings on whether or not you should do this, but I feel like if it's clickable, you should make it look like it's clickable, right? So that's our play button. And now what I need to do is I need to update the values for this one based on what's happening. So by default, we want our video player to be hidden. Like it shouldn't be present, right? So that means we'll go with display none, and it's gone. All right. So then when we have a visible class, it'll be display flex. Okay, good. So then the other thing that we need is we need to figure out what the URLs and stuff are. And so to get those, I think what we want to do is start this out empty. Like these have no... Those have no values, right? So currently they are it's almost like templatey, but this is hidden, so it's fine. So then I'm going to get into my script, and I'm going to do a, let's set up, how do I want this to work? Because this needs to pull from, Does my code base share the same tokens and CSS variables as in Figma? Yes, but because it's just me, it's way more chaotic than it was when I worked on teams. Like my flow for working on teams is a little more stringent, just because I think that process is necessary to keep everything from going completely off the rails. My personal flow is like, I would say 80% organized, which is good enough for me, but not good enough to share. I don't think I could have somebody working in my files and expect them to know what's going on, because, you know, there's a lot of me remembering why I did something the way I did it, and that's usually not a good enough way to manage things if you've got a team. Make you miss doing plain CSS? I mean, hey, you can always come back. And then, let's see. All right, so for me to do this, I don't know if I want to set up full-blown state management, right? Like that feels like a lot. So I feel like what I want to do instead is maybe what we can do. Let's see. 'Cause I feel like maybe what we can do is we can like set up a scripts, and we'll call this video player.ts. And then we would need a couple pieces. So we're going to have our state, right? Are we going to get away with this? I don't know if we're going to get away with this. Let's see if we can. Can I just, no, probably not. So I'm going to need my video, which will be null to start. And then we'll have status would be paused. All right, we're going to revisit that as we actually start building this. But then we need a function called play video, or set playing video. And the way that's going to work is we are going to pass in a video, which will be a video, which I think we can just import here. Video refers to a value. Oh, you're not going to let me just get away with that, are you? Fine. So we're going to import our video, and then inside here, what this will do is it's going to pass in a video. So we would say state.video equals video. And I guess for this, we'll have to do like a interface state equals, and then that's going to be video, will be a type of video, and status will be playing or paused. Why are you mad? Cannot find name video? Oh, it's because I don't know how TypeScript works. Okay. So by default, we don't have a video. When you set the playing video, but how would we then start it? Waiting for X state to get pulled in. Yeah, what maybe I should just give up and do it. I was thinking maybe I don't want to pull in actual state management, but maybe something like nanostate is going to solve. Why state at all when I'm persisting the video HTML? That's a good question. Maybe I don't need this. Maybe I'm overcomplicating things. Good question. Let's see how far we can get without this. You know what? We haven't incorporated this anywhere, so I'm just going to ignore this file for now, and like maybe we can delete it. Let's. And instead, let's go out to here probably. Well, okay. So the thing that I need is I need to be able to have the button clicked in the slug page, like this button. Clicking this button needs to update this component. And so that starts to point toward state. And I wonder if nano stores is just the right way to go. Because if I have nano stores, then I can just set the current video. And then the playing state can also be stored there. And like if I update the playing state and the video, it will just work. Because otherwise I'm doing something like, I don't know, tracking all of that state in an external script file that won't be in the components because they get parsed separately, and that feels like it's going to be hard to track. So I think nano stores is the lesser evil here. So why don't I make that work? Yeah, this will be fine. So we're going to nano stores Astro. And if I don't want to do this with, does it work if I don't want to use any of the thingies? Like just plain old Astro components? I'm going to make the assumption that this will work. How much time do we have? All right, we can get this working. with the preact, with preact, I would need, I don't want to bring in another thing. So I just want to use these pieces here. So I guess what I would then need is on any page load. What am I? I'm definitely. Oh, come on. Twitter is showing that over 1,000 people are watching. Like, come on. I don't believe you. Like, sure, feels nice. Number go up and all. Okay, so just cart items.get. Yeah, I think this is probably the right. What's up, Taylor? You are. If you count eyeballs, there's a lot. That's true. Yeah, I don't think I need to bring in another library here. So I think I'm just going to try to do this with nano stores. I feel like I could probably just do this with local storage, but maybe that's more than I want to do because I would need some kind of a event thing, and that feels like more than I want to deal with. So I'm just going to do it like this, and we're going to hope for the best, and it's probably going to be fine. So let's just get nano stores. And then I'm going to create my store. And inside this, we're going to import atom and map from nano stores because I need export const. All right, so that's one piece that we'll need. And then go with export video equals add card item. Well, actually, I don't need a map. I just need another atom. Because the atom can be anything. Okay. And so then we need the ability to export function set video playing. And that would just be, what do we do then? It would just be set to true. Or I guess current status would be is video playing get, and then it would be whatever the opposite of the current status is. Okay, so that's one. So that helps us toggle the playing, not playing state, and so that'll be useful if you click play. Well, no, that's I'm overcomplicating this. I don't need this part. I just need to know whether or not there's a video. Okay, so let's use our brains before we get too far here. So we've got two components. We've got the video page, with a play button. And then we have our video player. And so I need the video to be passed from here to here. And when that happens, it should start playing. So send the video, start playing, which basically means we need a function in here. So, so this would be a play video, and you pass in video. And that needs to be from here, but then it gets passed into this one so that they can work together. Right? And so for that to work, this one, so that would sort of be the trick then, is that in order for this to work, I need to have access to the player DOM element and the video in memory. So both of those things need to exist for this to work. And so would it be better to explicitly specify the state instead of using it as a toggle? Yeah, probably. Yeah, because what I want is basically, so I kind of need like two things. I need video to be able to update the state, and then the updating of the state causes an effect, which is for the video player to start playing. Well, it causes the video player to update the current video and then start playing. And so that would then be, where is the, is there like an effect thing? I think there is. So we have computed. Yeah, we've got to listen. Okay. So if we get, all right, this is what we need to do. So we'll test this out. And what we'll do is, let me get rid of all of this because that's not what we actually wanted. So instead, what we're going to do is we are going to set up const. We'll use their style here with the default set. Where did all of? Yeah. All right. So then if we get, oops. So the video is going to be an atom. Okay. And then we can just set it like so. So if we do a export we'll go function update video, and then we pass in a video, and that video is going to be type of video, which I need to import. Video from Astro DB. Okay. So then this by default is going to be just unset. And we get here. So we set video set and video. Okay. And then what we should be able to do is in the video player, how will this work? I should be able to import video from store, and then we will set video dot subscribe, and that should give me the video, at which point I should be able to console log the new video. Okay, so theoretically speaking, that will do what I want it to do. So then we go into the slug here, and we're going to set up a script. And in this one, we're going to import from store. Where am I? Pages video slug. Did I get this wrong? Pages layout. Yeah, that's correct. And then I want update video. And then we will say const play button equals document query selector. And for this one, we'll do a data type play. And then we'll say play button add event listener click. And we don't need to do anything with the event because it's not part of a form or anything. It's just kind of a general piece of UI. And what we will do is we will update video. Oh, but we're going to have to pass in all the details. For now, let's do it like this. I'm going to because you can't just like throw stuff from here into a script tag. You have to make it available out here somewhere. And so to do that, I guess what we would do is data video is going to equal, and we will JSON stringify video. Okay. So then what I can do is get the video will be JSON parse play button data set. How dare you? As HTML button element. Now you got a data set, don't you? All right, and then we need the video. And if that's empty, we make this bigger. We do one of those, and then we will update the video with the video. Okay. Theoretically speaking, this works. If I am correct, why are you yelling? I know it's there. Allowing import. If I do it like that, are you going to work? Quit yelling at me. Leave me alone. Okay, so theoretically speaking, when I click this button, what we should see happen, process is undefined. Where are you even finding process? Is it because I put this in here? What if we just skip that part? We don't, who needs TypeScript? It's fine. Now you're not mad. Video is undefined. Okay, now we click. Oh, look at us go. Ah, yeah. Okay, perfect. So that is exactly what we wanted. We got this thing a-running. Hold up. What did you just show me? What? Okay, cool. Very cool. I want to make that work. I need to look this up. Astro. Define vars. What? Oh, dude, that's so much easier than what I just did. Yeah. That's what we're doing. Okay. How new is this? When did they add this? I don't know when this was added, but I feel like it wasn't there somewhat recently. And I'm very, very, very happy that it's here now. Because now I don't have to do dumb shit like this. Okay. Why aren't you working as type? Like, I don't understand why this doesn't think it's TypeScript. I don't really care because it's not the point of what we're doing right now, but it is odd. Okay, so then I can get rid of this part too. Oh, yeah. Okay. Simpler. Cannot use import statement outside of module at 155. Not found store.ts. What? Why are you suddenly not working? Cannot use import statement outside of a module. So that one failed just because it's missing. Oh, that was me actually just missing. Okay, so this part works. And then when we add define vars, it says you can't use it outside of a module. So let's go look at what's going on here. Implies the is inline. Okay, so I actually think I might need to do it the other way because I don't really want this to all be bundled like that. Wait, are you in there now? Oh, did it? Oh, that's where we lost it. Okay. So I guess we get this back by getting play button. Play button dot data set dot video. And here, I guess that can live in here. I don't know that it really matters, but why not? And then that should get us back out here and we get our video. Okay, great. So then what we can do is in this one, When we get a new video, we are going to get the video element. That'll be a document.query selector. Do I need to? We'll just go with video. And inside of here, we'll do a video L source equals video dot. Do we call it URL? So this is the problem with not having TypeScript, is I immediately forget how everything works. URL. And then we can also video L dot play. Okay. Oh, and then we also need, what? Oh. If video fail. Okay, so we don't do anything if there's no video. All good. And in fact, that is not true, because we will also want, we'll get the player element. That's going to be document.query selector. We will get the .video player. And that one, whenever something updates, if there's no video, we will player L class list remove visible. And if it, oops. All right, so theoretically speaking, now that we've done this, when I click, it should show the player, and this should be what's playing. Good. Oh, but that failed. Okay, so it like kind of works. Okay. So it's kind of doing the thing. Let's see if it's even sending stuff. So console log video. Okay, so there's this video. Go over to the other one. And it is no longer sending that video, which leads me to believe it's not registering the event listener. Which would make sense, because we need to document.add event listener, and we're going to go with Astro. Did you forget all of my thingies? Whoa. Astro page load is the one that I want. And the reason that we're doing this is that because we added the view transitions, these scripts will only load the first time and not every time. So theoretically speaking, okay, there it is. Okay, so good. So this is going to need some style cleanup and stuff, but this is like, I'm not mad about this. And now what we can also do is we can go back into our player and we can update the rest of the details. So we need to update the title. Let's give these hooks so that we can get to them. Video title. We'll call this one video link. So this will be the title, and this will be the link. The hell is that? Get out of here. Video title, and you're going to be video link. So then we're going to set the title L text content is going to be the video.title. The link L, we need to set the href to video/video.slug. And if I've done all that correctly, okay, and go out here, click to it, and it takes us back here, right? Okay. So, with 30 minutes to spare, we got this thing built. So let me, I guess let me save these changes. Oh, and we got some stuff that we don't need because we ended up not needing the scripts. So we can, in fact, get rid of this. And let's see. So our store, oh, it's so nice and simple. I do love the simplicity of nano stores. Like, it always takes me a minute to remember how they work, but this is so good. And then up here, this one, for whatever reason, isn't recognizing Astro DB, but it also has another error, which is what? Yeah, like, yeah, this exists. Well, now you can find stuff. All right. This is a trick, by the way, that I learned recently, where if you hit Command Shift P and type reload, there's this reload window thing, which will like reboot all the linters and stuff, which sometimes for whatever reason, I think because I've probably installed and uninstalled about 1,000 extensions on my VS Code instance, it just forgets things. Like it initializes in the wrong order or something, and then it like can't find Astro DB or whatever. If I do this right, then it works. So, okay, so then this would be you, and then you. What's this? What is this? I guess it's saying that this is potentially empty, so we can do like a one of those maybe. Don't be like that. Don't be like that. Now what are you doing? Neither type sufficiently overlaps. Am I supposed... What? This... Am I supposed to do like a dot value or something? No. That's just correct. But why are you yelling at me? I think I did this wrong. Hold on. I bet they explain this. So when you get to type safe operations, that's not really what I'm after. I'm thinking more like when you want to use this, query your database. Is there anything about props? Type safe queries. There's probably a way to make this work, but I don't exactly know what it is. Let's see, do they give us any helpers? I don't see anything that makes that immediately clear. There's probably like, there's some TypeScript stuff that I don't know, and probably am not gonna bother learning. So, because it would be like because what I'm doing here is I'm doing a type of the schema, and that's not actually correct. But I bet that works. Yeah, how you like me now? Computer. You're not the boss of me. All right, so then I can add all of this. None of that looks sensitive, so let's add it all. Just double check one more time that I didn't accidentally put anything that shouldn't be in there. Okay, that's all fine. So we're gonna git commit, and we're gonna say working video player. Okay, then I will GitHub repo create. We'll push this one up. Okay, that's all doing what I want. And then why don't we just deploy this while we're at it? I want to create and configure a new site, put it on my team. We're going to call this Astro Video View Transitions. Astro build is fine. Oh, we're going to have to deploy this database. So this first one is going to blow up. I don't want a netlify.toml. And there was something I could do with like login, I think. CLI login complete. All right, so now I'm successfully logged in. So let's see, Astro DB deploy. Connect to AstroDB. Okay, that's fine. How do I create the AstroDB push? But I need to create first. CLI commands, that's what I was looking for. So Astro link, yes. Don't have an existing project. I need a new project. Project name. US East is fine. Creating a new project. Sick. Okay. That was easier than I expected. So let's go to Netlify. And it should be, let's see. So this deploy is going to be, this deploy worked just fine. How did it work just fine? Okay, so I got to fix the Z indexes here. Hell yeah. Okay. So this works, y'all. Here we go. We did it. I guess you don't even need to like, this should work too. Yeah, so that's fine. That's good. So that's simpler. All right, so I guess we have about 15, 20 minutes left, so why don't we use that time to clean up this CSS and fix like the z-index issues. So get back in here, npm run dev, and what I want is here, I want this to not explode if it's too tall. So let's, first we can just restrict this entire, what is happening here? Oh, it's fine. Okay, so yeah, so we need to just restrict the width in general, I think would be a good starting point. So we can shut this down. Let's go into our default layout. I'm going to wrap the entire thing in a main, and then we'll take this main and we're going to say inline size is going to be the minimum of 90 viewport width, or let's call it, I don't know, 1080 pixels because it's a video and that's how wide we, I guess like 1920 is fine. Like we want it to be at max the resolution that it is, which is 1920. Then we're going to say margin inline is auto to center it. And that is cool. There we go. So there's our 90 VW, or however we want to say it. Then we have our video player and our main. So I'm going to have body get a position relative. I'm going to have the main get a z-index of 1. And then I'm going to go into our video player, and that has a class of video player. So it's position fixed, and we're just going to give it a z-index of 10, which should, there we go, it sits on top. Now the other piece that we need though is that if we're going to do that, we need to make sure that if the video player is open, then we need to add bottom padding so that there is enough space. So this will be a use for has, and we'll say video player visible. Then we'll say padding block end. And let's see, what's the right? It's 300 pixels wide. So 300 pixels wide. What is it? 16 divided by 9. So it would be like 300 divided by, that's not right. That shouldn't change the, oh, that's right. Yeah, okay, okay. So 168 by 7. So basically I need calc of 300 pixels divided by 16 divided by 9. So that's just to give us the height of the aspect ratio. And then if I've done that properly, it won't do anything. Maybe I need to do that times 2. This is clearly not working. Like, what's going on with my math here? Main. Why wouldn't this be working? Oh, because there is no... Because it would be the body, not the main. There it is. Okay, so we probably don't need the times 2 then. There we go. So now, well, we can add a little bit. We'll add like a 4 rem bottom. Okay, so now you can actually access this whole thing even when it's big. Cool. and then you would, you know, use the full screen if you wanted to watch it full size or something. Okay, all right. All right, later, Taylor. Thanks for hanging out. Playing videos underneath the video thumbnail when you select one on a bit wider screen. Is that what you were talking about? Is that what I'm fixing right now and I just didn't see your chat until too late? Figure out the sticky positioning could work. I don't know. I kind of like this vibe of like, if it's closed, I guess I would need a close button, but for now, you know, something like this, I guess we need a padding block end of for rem if you're not watching. So you always get the same like end padding. I'm into it. All right. So, okay. So let's double check that this is doing what I want. So if I blow this up, these are visible, works the way that I want, good. And then you click in. Oh, it looks like it does show up on top though. How would one fix that? Because it's in the body? Okay, so I'm gonna have to figure out where does it show up in the body or does it show up in the HTML? Crap. It shows up in the HTML, which means I don't even know how to do that. How would I? Because I can't get if the body is higher than the view transitions, you wouldn't see the view transitions. So I need just this player to be higher than the view transitions, which I don't think is possible. Which might mean I just have to live with that. I don't love that. Yeah, that's not ideal, is it? Okay, so that might be a rabbit hole for another day because I'm not sure how I'm going to actually fix that because we're sort of at the end of my knowledge for how view transitions work. And we've got the two pieces sort of. I'm not sure how to fix the index issue like that. So I might be taking that one to Twitter to ask some questions because I'm not sure how I would do that. Let's see, do a little screen recording. All right. Yeah, that illustrates it properly. Good. So we'll save that, and then we're going to head over to Twitter, and we're just going to ask. font is supposed to be on top, but transitions are just because I like wasting Elon Musk's money, I'm going to upload this in 1080p. And then, because I'm irritating, I'm going to tag people that I know. Great. Effectively been annoying on the internet. Just Astro today, not Astro and Quick. So we went and built this little layout here where, let's see if I can make this a little less. What are you doing? Stop whatever you're doing. So we set up this this player that'll keep playing. You can see the video is still going as I'm navigating around the site. And then if you click on one, it'll replace that video in the player. And then you can also navigate from here. And we did this all with Astro, nano stores, and standard HTML and CSS. There's no framework really outside of the Astro's view transition support. So yeah, it was a fun build. I'm really happy that this worked. If you are interested, you can go look at the other branch and like how complicated I made this on my first try. Very happy at how much less complex this needed to be than I originally made it. So, which also, I think I have this draft of a post that I don't know if I'm going to post because it feels too like, yeah, sure, whatever, you've got all the time in the world. But like, there's this thing that I've started doing that has made a huge difference in the quality of my code, which is that I build everything twice. And I tend to like just rough it out. I go, I don't care about code quality. I'm not thinking about reusability or anything. I just build the whole thing. And the reason is that when I'm first building something, I don't have a working mental model of how any of it works yet. Like I have to actually understand the shape of the software. And then once I've built it and it works, I will tear it down like we did today, and I'll rebuild it minimally referencing my original code, depending on how complex the thing is. But now that I've got this working mental model, I notice that a lot of the stuff that I did the first time sort of falls away and it gets less complex. And so today was a really good example of this, where this code that we wrote, being able to manage the store with less than 10 lines of code, being able to run the player off of, this is so irritating. Come on, dog. Being able to run the player. Oh, it's because I didn't set these as TypeScripty thingy, so it's going to yell at me. It's fine. It's all fine. But being able to run the player off of, what is this, another 20 lines of code, and then being able to update the player itself off of another 15 lines of code or so. this is like, this is good. It's really slick. And the original implementation didn't even work, and it was like 200 lines of JavaScript. So building everything twice is, for me at least, a great way to sort of preemptively avoid technical debt and allow me to go full chaos mode at the start, because I know I'm not only am I going to revisit this, but I'm literally going to throw this code away after I've figured out how it works. And so it's sort of like once to get the mental model, once for production. And it's made a huge difference in the quality of my code. And for me at least, I found it doesn't really take me any longer, because I can just get right into my messy flow state, make a huge mess, and then throw it all away. And then when I rebuild the code, I already know how to build the code. Like, I've seen the end state. So I'm working towards something that I already understand, and I'm just building a clean version, right? So I don't know, it doesn't really make me slower, at least not measurably slower. And I think it's really increased the quality of my code. But little controversial, because I don't know if that makes sense on like anything but a single person team. I don't know if that really works if you're, you know, a full squad going out and saying like, yeah, we're gonna build this fast and then tear it down and build it again. I don't know if that actually works. So yeah, just a little something I'm worrying. Yeah, adding the as would definitely fix it. So if I, and in fact, why not? We can just do it. We'll do as, what are you, a div? HTML div. And then we can make you HTML video. We can make you a HTML heading. And we'll make you HTML anchor. And now nobody's yelling at me anymore except for you. And that's because our type in the store doesn't match. And so this would be like, we would need, you know, a video. We could do a type video, and this would have the ID. Is that not how that works? Expected 1 arguments, but got 0. Can I do it like that? No. No, absolutely not. That can't be right. Yeah, I'm not going to fix this right now. Mainly, like, I kind of know what I'm doing, but we're out of time, so I'm not going to fall into that rabbit hole, and we're just going to continue living our lives, because why wouldn't we continue living our lives? So I'm going to commit these changes. Ugh. Push that up. That will rebuild the site. Yeah, prototype mistakes and then refactor. I love helping out with Gleam and play. I don't even know what Gleam is, so I'm gonna guess I am not the right person to help. Tech debt bring. Bruno, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not 100% sure I understand what you mean by that. But let's see. So that's pushed. We've got the site up here. And if we full screen it, it works now. Look at us go. Okay, so this is the working site. If you want to go check that out and play with it. And y'all, I think we're going to call that one successful. So I appreciate y'all hanging out with me today. This was a lot of fun. It's always good to see you. And don't forget, this week we've got some good stuff coming up on Learn with Jason. So this week we're going to be learning about structured concurrency, which is a very computer science-y thing. I think I'm excited to learn about this because I don't do a lot of computer science, like academic computer science. So I'm always really interested in learning more about that. And the practical impact of this is that apparently this is a way to get huge performance improvements on our promise-based workflow. So async await stuff and being able to intelligently cancel promises and stuff like that. Charles has a lot of things. He talked to me about this for a minute, and I got really excited because it seems like the sort of thing that at first I was like, oh, it'll be kind of an academic deep dive. And then he started explaining it more, and I was like, wait, this is actually dope. This is going to be really practical, and I'm going to learn a lot. So very excited to learn about this. Make sure you update your calendar. We got a lot coming up. I've got stuff that I haven't put on the show yet, so make sure that you get, get on the newsletter, get on the calendar, join the Discord, whatever is the thing that you want to do. And if you're not a member of the channel yet, if you're watching on Twitch or YouTube, you can join the channel. It's a few bucks a month. It goes directly toward funding more videos like this, like the 4 web devs, like Web Lunch. Every little bit helps. It means a lot to me. I really appreciate you all. And you get some perks, you get listed as a sponsor or a supporter in the videos, and you get access to behind the scenes stuff and longer cuts and stuff like that. So, it's, I hope worth it. And it's, I don't know, it's my job. So I'm just going to beg. Thank you all very much for supporting me. I appreciate you. And with that, we're going to call this one done. Thanks, y'all. Have a good one. We'll see y'all next time.